This is the new 2024 Chevrolet Colorado Z71. It's a mid-size pickup that is loaded with great features. In this video, we're going to check it out, take it for a drive, and then put it to the test right here at our Peninsula Proving Grounds. That's coming up right now on Driving Sports TV. The Chevrolet Colorado, of course, is available in a large number of trims with a long list of options. We've already tested the more extreme ZR2 and ZR2 Bison, but this is our first time looking at the more affordable Z71, which is loaded with great tech, comfort, and off-road features. Priced in between the basic Trail Boss and the more pricey ZR2, the Z71 starts at just over $40,000, but that pricing can escalate quickly when you start adding packages. Ours arrived with a couple convenience packages, extra safety options, a trailer package, radiant red paint, and a spray and bed liner. As you see it here, you're looking at $46,575 US, including destination. In addition to all-terrain tires and rugged good looks, you also get a nicely appointed interior. Leather trimmed seats with 8-way power adjustments and heat, a digital gauge cluster, and a widescreen infotainment system. The second row has enough room for a full-size adult. I'm 6'1", legs torso proportionate, and I fit just fine. It also has vents, power, and a fold-down armrest with cup holders. Under the hood, the Colorado comes standard with the TurboMax 4-cylinder engine. This peaks out at 310 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to an 8-speed automatic transmission with full-time 4-wheel drive, along with an electronically controlled dual-range transfer case. In the back is a G80 auto-locking differential. Tires are Goodyear Wrangler Territory all-terrains wrapped around 18-inch wheels. The Colorado has independent front suspension, along with coil springs and a solid axle in the rear. Wheelbase is more than 3 inches longer than the very popular Toyota Tacoma at 131 inches. EPA rates economy of this setup at 18 miles to the gallon in the city and 23 on the highway. In the back, you get a slow drop tailgate with integrated storage. Ours also included a spray and bed liner and power. Max payload on the Colorado is 1,495 pounds, or 678 kilograms. Towing peaks out at 7,700 pounds with the included optional towing package. Ground clearance, 8.9 inches. Not great for off-roading, especially if you compare it to something like the Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road, which has 11 inches standard. Driving the Chevrolet Colorado Z71 is actually really pleasant. I like the suspension setup, even on this, the non-ZR2 version. Because of course the ZR2 and the Bison have the special Multimatic suspension. This one just has more run-of-the-mill coils and shocks. But it actually is tuned pretty nicely for roads like this. The seating position is pretty good. The seats are a little on the firm side. I am feeling like the Toyota Tacoma and the Ford Ranger have more comfortable seats, but these do have lots of adjustments. They are powered on the driver's side, and I do get both heating and cooling. Nice touches at this price level. And of course, it used to be that $46,000 was a lot of money for a truck, but these days it's kind of average. So for an average price, you're definitely getting above average accommodations. Now, of course, if I were to option this truck myself, I would absolutely add the tech package. To me, $950 extra for adaptive cruise control and surround view camera systems, that's a no-brainer. Visibility is pretty good. I mean, it's a truck. The hood is rather tall and square, so you do get a lot of hood in your view, which isn't my favorite thing. We do, however, have collision mitigation built into this, as well as blind spot warning, which kind of helps with everyday, avoiding potential issues. So how does this engine feel? Well, let's try it out. There's no actual sport modes or anything like that in the drive modes. The drive modes are more centered around off-road. But let's go ahead and just give it a stab. Punch it. Takes a moment for throttle to come on. but it's quick, sounds good. Now, my perspectives are a bit skewed on what makes a fast truck, because for those of you who already watch the show regularly know, my daily driver is a 2024 Ford Ranger Raptor, which has 405 horsepower. So this setup, it feels fine. It's certainly not slow though, and I think anybody looking for a truck like this will be very happy with the kind of power that you get out of this thing. One nice feature that this truck has that you just don't seem to find in other trucks is the full-time four-wheel drive. And full-time four-wheel drive is really great if you're in mixed conditions or you just don't know what setting to put it in. You just hit auto and you're good to go. Now let's go back to the suspension here just for a moment. I'm going to go into the corner. We have pretty well-controlled body lean. I'm going to hit the bridge deck. Do we get bounce? It's a little bit of bounce in the back. Obviously, trucks are really designed to be carrying loads. And if you have an empty truck, yeah, it is going to just bounce a lot back there because you have no weight over the rear wheels. But I think for daily driving, this one's pretty good. It actually feels better than the new Ford Ranger in the more, mid-range trims. Obviously, the Raptor has the really special suspension, and that thing just feels amazing everywhere. But if you're talking about a regular Ranger, like an FX4 or a Sport, then yeah, this truck actually feels better on pavement, has less bounce in the back. Let's see what we can do for a 0 to 60. 3, 2, 1, and go. So it takes a moment, does pretty good, nice sounds, and 60 in 7.18 seconds. It's pretty quick for a little mid-sized truck. So this truck does not come with adaptive cruise control, but it does have lane detection. However, it is just a lane indicator. It doesn't actually like auto track or anything like that, which I think will be totally fine for a lot of truck owners. A lot of truck guys just don't really want all of that fussiness, and that's fine. If you want to, you can, of course, add yet another option pack, and you get that adaptive cruise, but it's not on our test truck. So now it's time to see how well this truck deals with trickier situations at our Peninsula Proving Grounds, where we have a number of trails to put this thing to the test. Okay, so of course we're driving in on a gravel road. Let's see how this thing handles slippy-ish conditions. A little bounce there. Oh yeah, it's pretty good. Now these are just trail tires. They're not like a intense off-road or mud terrain tire. Whoop! That was fun. But I think they should be suitable for today. So today we're going to go through every single course here at our Peninsula Proving Grounds. Recently I've redone some of the sections and I added a new climb at the end of the rock garden. We're calling it the landslide. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Well, I'm in drive. Set the drive mode. Now we have lots of different drive modes to pick from. We have normal, off-road, tow haul, terrain, and that's it. Terrain is definitely more like a rock crawling mode, so I'm just going to go to off-road. That should allow for a little bit of wheel slip, should engage a little bit more wheel braking on at least the front wheels where we don't have a locking diff. The back has what's called a G80 locker. It's an auto locker. Basically, whenever you have a differential in speed between the two wheels up to a certain threshold, it'll then lock it and make those two wheels spin at roughly the same rate, or more important, it'll channel torque equally to both axles. So let's see what this can do. Okay, so we're in off-road mode. Transfer case is currently set to auto. I'm just going to leave it there, at least on this easier section, because I think that's what most people would do. Because we're not really about to enter an intense area at all. This would be somebody just driving down a, little forest road. You don't expect anything too hard there, right? So I'm just going to ease up, let the vehicle do all the work. I'm not going to jam on it and use momentum. I'm going to let the truck do the work. Yeah, it's just no problem at all. So go down to the ditch, see if we lift that rear wheel at all. I'm guessing probably not. Let's take a look, actually. and get out. Because this has a solid axle, the wheel just reaches down and touches the ground. It's great for off-road stuff. Bit of an angle here. Okay, now I'm not airing down the tires here because I don't think any of this stuff is really that hard. Also, for consistent testing, if we keep everybody's tires up at recommended pressures, then everybody is on equal ground. Watch those trees. We're gonna put the passenger side down. Gonna lift traction off these two wheels. So passenger rear and driver front. This is where we should first see some wheel braking or that auto locker kicking in the back. Yep, gets us right through. This truck is obviously up to the task, and I think it is asking for more. For this section, I'm going to go ahead and set this vehicle for more off-road conditions, and I'm going to do so by basically just picking 4 low. What that'll do is give me more throttle control and also amplify torque to the wheels because we're switching into the low range. I do have to go into neutral, and we're ready to go. Actually, I'm going to put it into L1 so I can lock it down into first gear, which should be our slowest crawl ratio. So L basically is like a manual setting. Allows us to manually pick our gears on this 8-speed automatic transmission. We're just rolling up here. We got a 12-degree pitch. Doing fine. Now there is no front camera on this, which, you know, sometimes I'm okay with, but this hood is so big and blocky, I kind of think you need one. Especially on a ridge like this where I don't have a lot of room for error on either side. There's some squeaking back there in the chassis. It's like up and around. Yeah. But with these small wing mirrors and no cameras and a big hood, it does make it a little bit challenging. Okay, now we're in the hole. Let's see if we can get out without dragging anything. We dip down, we're gonna listen for any scratching, specifically the underbelly because of the long wheelbase, so the breakover or the departure. Great, doing good. So what I've done here is I've taken this hill and filled this in a little bit, which gives us a little bit of a climb, but I also put a deep hole right here. So we're dealing not only with loose surface, but also articulation. So we're gonna see how well this vehicle can put traction down and how it can move power around the system. And we'll see what kind of clearance we have. If I stay to the right, it's an easier line. If I go far, far left, it's more difficult. Now I have taken my Ranger Raptor through here when I was building it to kind of test out clearances. I cannot go all the way to the left with the Ranger Raptor. It does not have enough clearance because it actually hits the side step. So because this is the first time out, I'm gonna go a little bit to the right, but I'm not gonna totally chicken out. Let's see what this can do. So we're in 4 low, off-road mode. Nothing else really to do here. It has an auto locker in the back. Now this is actually where a locker in the front would be helpful, because I don't think we're gonna, yeah. Not only, oh, it's doing a good job of shifting that power around, we're definitely lifting a wheel in the back. So can it shift that power? Whoa, nice. That did pretty good. That was right in the middle of the hole. So it wasn't the deepest section, but it was still pretty deep. So now let's head on to the ditches. Now we're gonna go side to side. Some ditches, a little more clearance testing, articulation, see what it does. Oh. Okay, no problem there. Move on. Did we just hit a rock? I think we just hit a rock. Close. Yeah, that's close. So this just underlines one of those things that I always say, don't drive too fast when you're going off-road, because of that spring compression can really cause damage. Here, I was crawling super slow and I barely grazed the rock. If I was hauling through here, could have had a puncture on the body somewhere. So, listen for any scraping or dinging. I'm just slowly moving. Now, I'm not using the terrain system yet, and that's simply because I'm going so incredibly slow and I want full control over throttle. Okay, I think we'll probably be good on that section. Okay, no grinding yet, so that's good. Now, let's get over the landslide. For this section, I'm actually going to use terrain mode because I want to see how well that deals with this really tricky situation. And this is especially tricky because not only do we have granite, we have some logs that are going to impede our progress, as well as very loose gravel on top of that. So traction is definitely an issue. And let's just see. So I just go into terrain mode. I add a little throttle. And actually, it really deadens that throttle pedal. Whoa! So this is where we have to be careful, that shuffling. So I was adding throttle, waiting for that locker to kick in, and it did take a minute. This is actually where I would prefer to have... Oh, I think we're grinding the tow hitch. Because this long wheelbase. Yep. That wheelbase. Oh, we're rubbing right on the bumper, right there. So we won't clear that without damaging that. So I'm going to back up a little bit. I'm going to hear grinding as I come off of it. So the throttle pedal is so much more, it's so much slower to engage that gas. Ooh, more creaking back there. There we go. So I'm going to put a rock under there to lift the wheel so we can get clearance. I think we should give it like one gimme. If it doesn't clear after one gimme, then I think this is considered a fail. Whew. I don't look forward to having to back out of here though. Okay, so I got a rock in place. Let's see if we can go forward without grinding this time. Look at that rock now. Gives us a little lift through that back bumper, hopefully. Yep, now let me check the front. Okay, that's all it took to clear the back bumper, one rock, not too bad. Now up here, we have another clearance issue possibly. We have that rock there. I think we'll be okay. I think we're clear for the rest of it. That was tricky there. Okay, then up we go. Putting it into L, so I'm locked into 1. It's not going to shift on me. Come on, auto locker, kick in. This is actually why I don't like auto lockers. They have to have a certain degree of difference of spin before they kick in. Whereas like on the ZR2, you have a manually locking locker. You just turn it on and it is locked. Much better for tricky situations. Up we go. Come on, over the logs. Oh. Now again, I'm trying to be really careful so we don't crash down on anything. I think we're gonna make it though. This is the next clearance test as we go over the last log. It's gonna be tight. I think we're gonna make it. Okay. Did it. Whew. All right. Oh, so as I lift, with terrain mode, it's kind of neat because as I drive. So when my throttle's down, I move, lift my throttle, brakes apply. So it allows for that kind of two-pedal action that you would normally get on more of an old school four-wheel drive. This one just kind of does it for you. And with the Chevys, you kind of need to do that because they really don't like the two-pedal thing. It sometimes can cause the transfer case to switch from 4 low all the way down to 2 high without any input, which is frustrating. So the Chevy Colorado Z71 did really well today. Now granted, we do have some clearance issues because this isn't, it's not as high as the ZR2 or any of the actual off-road versions from the competition. Given what this is and given the target market, I think this is actually a very good vehicle for people who, you know, most of the day is spent on the road, and on the weekends they might hit a trail or two. Nothing too complicated. Our landslide is about as hard as you will find on any actual like open trails. So if you are looking for a mid-sized truck that's loaded with features, looks great, and even has some off-road capability, the 2024 Chevy Colorado Z71. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share our videos. We make them for you, and I hope you enjoy them.